Out of all the cars I ever sold, one customer messed me up for weeks. Not because of money, not because of negotiation, because of a child tied into the back seat with a rope. It was early in my sales career, and I was young, hungry, still learning the business. It was just another normal day at the dealership, or so I thought. This old beat up car pulled right up to the front door. Not to a parking spot, not off to the side, right to the front. The engine sounded tired. The paint was faded. The whole thing looked like it had a hard life. The driver got out and waved me over. So I walked over like I always would. And then that's when I saw the child. Yeah, a little boy, 2, maybe 3 years old at most, sitting in the back seat. No seatbelt. He was tied in with an actual rope. At first, my brain didn't even understand what I was saying. It took a second to sink in. I leaned in closer to the window, and that's when my stomach turned. The back seat had been changed at some point, and there was a hole in the floor. A big hole. Big enough that if that little boy had ever worked his way out of that rope, he would have fallen straight through onto the road. My face went cold, hot at the same time. That wasn't a sales moment anymore. That was a human moment. I looked at the man and I said, "Sir, you take that child out of that seat right now." He looked at me confused. I said, when you leave here today, you are leaving here in a different car. That child will never be in that car again, ever. He stared at me for a long time. And for a second, he said, "You're serious, aren't you?" I said, "Dead serious." He slowly untied the rope. I asked him, "Do you have anything personal in your car?" He said, "No, nothing." I waved to one of the cleanup guys, and I said, "Come with me. Take that car around back right now." Then I turned to the man and I said, "You come with me. We're going to sit down and talk." Inside, we're going to go inside and talk. And we went in, away from the lot, away from the noise, away from the pressure. We sat down, and when we sat down, his life came out. He was a single father, struggling. He was struggling, 1 week at a time. That old car was all he had, and I could see it in his eyes. He wasn't a bad man. He was a worn down man. So we talked, not about cars at first. We talked about work, about money, about how hard it is to do everything alone with a child depending on you. And then we talked about what he wanted. And then we talked about what he truly needed. And we both realized those two things were not the same. He wanted something nice. He needed something safe. Something that would get him and his boy through tomorrow, and the next tomorrow, and after the one after that. So we made the hard, realistic choice. We chose what he needed. Then came the hard part: money, financing. His credit wasn't good. Margins were tight. It was going to be a fight. So I did what we did back then. I picked up the phone. I called my banker. Not a computer system I didn't call. Not an approval department I didn't call. No, I called my banker. A real person. I called in a favor. I explained who this man was. I explained the situation. I explained why this wasn't just another deal. I told her straight up, I'll send you golden customers down the road. I did too. That's how it worked back then. She trusted me. She looked at the file. She paused. She said, "Okay, I'll help." And she did. He was approved. Not because of numbers, not because of anything, just because of trust. That man left that day in a safe car with seatbelts. Sorry to laugh. A solid floor, again, kind of important, and a little boy buckled improperly for the very first time. Before he left, he didn't say much. He just looked at me and gave me a quiet nod, and I understood exactly what that nod meant. Over the years, that man became a customer for life. 6, maybe 7 cars. 2 or 3 different dealerships I worked at. Every time he walked in, there was respect. And one thing we never talked about was that first day. We didn't need to. Life moved on. He met a woman. They built a family. They had more children. Years went by. Then one day, a young man walked into the dealership. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him right away. I couldn't place him anyways. He smiled and he said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "I'm sorry, I don't. I don't think so." He said, "My dad used to bring me here." Just a second, I take a little sip. My dad used to bring me here when I was a little boy. Oh, that's good. Sorry for the break. My dad used to bring me here when I was a little boy, and then it hit me. He said I was a little boy in the back seat. The old man must have told him about it, I guess. Everything came rushing back. The rope, the hole in the floor, that terrible day. And here he was, grown, healthy, standing right in front of me, with his girlfriend beside him. We stared at each other for a second, then we laughed. We talked. They bought a car that day. Later, they got married. And I think I sold him 2 or 3 more cars over the years. We never spoke directly about that first day. Just a quiet nod. Some things don't ever need to be said out loud again. They just live in you. Sometimes I think about that moment when the beat-up car pulled right up in front of the door. How close everything came to be going another way. How one decision changes that direction of life. I wasn't a hero that day. I was just a man who couldn't look away. Sometimes that's enough. Of all the deals I ever made, that one was never about a car. It was about a child making it safely into the future. And that one sale I'll carry with me forever. Bye for now.